We've seen movers demand more money before releasing customers' belongings. But two companies were accused of keeping something much more precious: cremated ashes of people.
The defendants, we allege, either withheld or threatened to withhold the remains of consumers' loved ones.
The Federal Trade Commission and Justice Department took aim at the online companies they say were acting as funeral service brokers.
The behavior, as alleged, is egregious and takes advantage of folks when they're grieving. So it's very serious.
So serious, the feds sued Legacy Cremation Services and Heritage Cremation provider last year, alleging they misled consumers about their location and prices.
They held themselves out to be a local funeral home, both on their website and over the phone. But in reality, they're not a local funeral home, and they didn't provide any funeral services themselves.
The man behind the companies, Anthony Joseph Damiano, has deep ties to South Florida, but people across the country claim to be victims.
It's like reliving her death over and over and over again.
As 7 News reported back in 2016, complaints were already piling up from Colorado.
The box that they came in had been thrown around, beat up.
Just for her to be so disrespected and mistreated, it just wasn't right.
To Virginia.
I'm not ordering a big screen TV from these individuals. They've taken my mother-in-law's remains. They promise us that they've cremated when we have no proof. And the gentleman that owns the company, AJ, got very hostile with me on the phone.
AJ is short for Anthony Joseph.
Hi, Tony. AJ.
Former 7 News investigative reporter Carmel Cafaro caught up with him in Tamarack 7 years ago.
I'd like to talk to you about Heritage and Legacy.
Long before Anthony Joseph Damiano went online, he and his father, who has since passed away, were both highly controversial figures in South Florida's funeral industry. And for more than 2 decades, 7 News followed their steps and missteps. Joe Damiano once had a contract to transport bodies from crime scenes to the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's office. Hey. But in 2001, got into trouble for his crematory.
The facility is not properly licensed to have any bodies here.
And he was sued after taking bodies to a university to be used for embalming classes.
What do you have to say to the families of the people who were embalmed without permission?
And back in 2000,
we're executing a search warrant.
Investigators raided AJ Damiano's Davie business. They found unsealed, unlabeled bags of people's ashes and burial contracts the state said he had no authority to sell.
Mr. Damiano will be out of the business for quite some time.
But in recent years, AJ returned on the internet. Florida funeral regulators posted an online alert about his companies, and the feds sued. Last month, the lawsuit was settled. Damiano agreed to disclose their physical location and a general price list on websites, pay $275,000 in civil penalties, and provide detailed information about third-party providers who are actually the ones handling the human remains.
So consumers can decide, is this a service I want to use where I know that they're not actually a local funeral home? Or do I want to shop someplace else?
It's a decision, no doubt, some families across the country wish they could make again. Kevin Ozebek, 7 News.